Hi kids, how are you all? I hope you all are fine. Yes, and I hope you are listening to all my stories every week. Yes, so this week also I have come up with a new story. So welcome back to a virtual library session. Hey kids, can you see which princess is she? Yes, she's a Cinderella. And what is that? Yes, this is the glass shoe of Cindrella. So today we are going to listen the story of a Cinderella. Once upon a time there lived a young and beautiful girl named Cinderella. She used to live in a large house. Cinderella's mother died, and so her father had married another woman who had two daughters. One day, Cinderella's father went to work and never returned. Cindrella was left at the mercy of her stepmother. Her stepmother and stepsisters were lazy and selfish. The stepsisters made her do all the work of the house. All day long, Cinderella did housework. Everyone except Cinderella slept on beds. He was made to sleep on the floor. And this is what went on in their house every day. The stepmother and stepsisters troubled Cinderella without any reason. But Cinderella loved them still and never ever complained. One day an announcement was made in the village. There will be a royal ball at the palace tomorrow night, and a handsome prince invited all beautiful girls to his party and will marry a maiden from amongst the guests. Everybody from the village is invited. The whole village was excited, even Cinderella's stepmother and stepsisters. Cinderella's stepsisters made her stitch beautiful gowns for them. Cinderella came to know about the ball, the royal ball. Prince Charming, I will finish my work quickly so we can all go together. Won't it be just wonderful? The stepmother told. You? Who said anything about you going? So they did not take Cinderella along. She sat in a corner and cried. Just then Cinderella saw her fairy godmother standing in the kitchen. She held in her hand a delicate wand. I'm here to get you to the royal ball. Really, godmother? But how will I get to the ball? I don't have anything to wear. You don't worry about that, my child. Find me a frog, a pumpkin, and two mice, said her fairy godmother. And so, in just a few minutes, Cinderella was ready for the royal ball. And she thanked her fairy godmother and got aboard the chariot. With a wave of a magic wand, there stood a golden carriage, a footman, and two white horses. Cinderella's torn dress became a beautiful ball gown. The fairy godmother gave her a pair of glass shoes. "Come home by midnight," she said. She received a word of caution from the fairy godmother. Cinderella thanked Fairy Godmother and left for the palace. Fairy Godmother shouted, "Remember to be back home at 12, otherwise the spell will wear off." Soon Cinderella arrived at the palace. As she entered the great ballroom, everyone turned to look who this beautiful maiden was. Nobody could recognize her, not even her own stepmother and stepsisters. At the palace she danced with the prince all night. The stepsisters felt jealous of her. When the clock struck 12, Fairy Godmother's word came back to her. She needed to get out of there before the clock struck 12. Without saying a word, she tore away from the prince's traps and ran out of the palace. But Cinderella dared not wait or even look back. Her beautiful gown was already turning into rags again. She rushed down the stairs when one of her glass shoes fell off. The prince picked up the shoe. He was in love with Cinderella. He searched the kingdom for her. The shoe did not fit anyone. We are asking all the girls in the village to try this slipper. The one whom it fits would be the one the prince will marry. If you have any girls in the house, please ask them to try this slipper. Oh, yes, yes, I'm sure. It was one of my daughters. And so both the stepsisters tried to fit their foot into the slipper, one by one. They pushed and pushed, but could not get their foot in. "Is there any other young lady in the house?" the king's men asked. "No, there isn't. You can leave." As soon as the king's men ready to leave, just then Cinderella came down and put her foot into the glass shoe, and it fit her perfectly. The prince held Cinderella's hand and took her to the palace. They had a grand wedding and lived happily ever after. Thank you. Thank you all my babies. Thank you for listening the story. Meet you in the next session.